Scott, you good? Mona? Everybody good? All right, we're good. All right, good morning. These are the work sessions for January 10th, 2023 of the Board of County Commissioners of Rio Blanco County. These work sessions are being held at the Rio Blanco County Sheriff's Office, 355 4th Street in the SO Training Room, Meeker, Colorado, 81641. These meetings will be recorded and posted, posted as soon as possible on the Rio Blanco County YouTube channel. Work sessions are intended to provide opportunities for the commissioners to study difficult issues, gather and analyze information, clarify problems, or give staff direction. No official decisions will be made. Work sessions are on a floating docket. The schedule is provided for informational purposes only. Sessions will normally be considered in the order in which they appear on the schedule. However, all times are approximate and may begin at the commissioner's discretion. Additionally, the board may alter the schedule, take breaks during the meeting, or continue an item for a future work session date. With that being said, we will start with Mr. Bill DeBurgi and the Crystal River Conservation Easement discussion.
Thank you. In a different format?
Yeah. If you could stand up at the podium, that way everybody on the phone can hear you on that microphone. So apologies for having to utilize this. We had issues with our elevator over in the historical courthouse, so that's why we are meeting over here.
No problem. I just want to make sure we have the right process for you folks. Hi, introduce myself, Bill DeVerge. I'm the area wildlife manager of Colorado Parks and Wildlife based here in Meeker. The project we bring in front of you today is called Crystal Creek Ranch. It's a conservation easement. I'm joined today with the owner of the property, Mr. Rexdale is here. Brought him along in case there's questions you ask that I can't answer. He'll know the details better. So if you have a question, please ask Rex to join us. First of all, this is a project that started a few years back through what we call our RFP, our request for proposal. The application was submitted, it was ranked, it was reviewed. There was actually a previous owner of the ranch at the time. CPW attempted to purchase that property fee title. It didn't go through for a variety of different reasons. Mr. Tuttle purchased that ranch, and since that time, we've been working with him to do a conservation easement. Hopefully, I assume you guys got the maps and an idea. So this is in the county, but it's a long ways to get to where it is. It's up the Southport Williamsport, basically kind of at the dead end of the last end of that road. A little over 3,400 acres. The Tuttle family will continue to utilize this in agriculture as well as the hunting part of it. So the conservation easement is basically just designed to protect it from future development. That is the whole intent of the easement, is to protect developments other than the minimal stuff that Mr. Tuttle needs to run his family ranch, which will always continue on, whether that's fencing and his housing and all the agricultural infrastructure that's already there. It will continue to exist, continue to operate the way it is. He's given up the opportunity to subdivide it into, let's say, cabin lots or smaller parcels. So anyway, along those lines, I don't want to belabor the point too long. I will let you guys ask questions if you have any, or we can ask Rex. If there's anything else, what we're looking for, procedurally through our agency is, by law, we don't have to bring it to the commissioners, but we do that for professional courtesy. So we try to garner your guys' support, because the next step after this is anything that the state acquires a possessory interest in this case, the easement, we have to take it to the legislature, to the Capital Development Committee, which will be the next step. So we like to show that hopefully we have local support before we go ask for the support from the legislators. So that's the process we're going through at this point. So with that, I guess I'll just ask if you guys have any questions on the proposal.
You guys have any? Jen? Is there a time constraint that you're up against with the letter of support? Meaning, it is on our agenda today,
okay,
but if, with new people being sworn in today and trying to get caught up to speed, is there any wiggle room to table that until our next meeting, or is this time pressing?
Would be your next meeting
On the 4th, what would that be? The 24th.
Obviously, we're at your guys' mercy to a certain extent. We will wait if that's what's needed. It would be preferable to do it as quicker as possible. We're trying to get this thing closed as close to the end of January for his benefit as everybody else's. Again, it would be nicer if it could be done, but if it's not, the ultimate goal from us is to have your support. And if that requires a couple more weeks that you guys need to feel comfortable with it, then that's what we'll have to do.
But what are the terms of the easement, just from a high level view? What is it? I mean, obviously it restricts development, but what other restrictions are in play with that?
There's hardly any other restrictions that I can even describe. So we have a management plan with them, so they're going to continue to operate. Again, it'll be a sheep operation that they run and their family runs for many years. They'll continue to maintain roads, spray weeds, build fence, run the sheep, and then they also do an outfitting business on there. No problem. That's there. I mean, they can do basically anything they want with the ranch that they're doing now, except subdivide it and build into, whether it be multiple, cabin lights, or breaking it up into. They could actually break it into small parcels. They just can't develop on it. So that's really all it is just protecting it from being subdivided into multiple cabin sites or something of that effect. Which would happen because it's a desirable country.
Does this affect tax base at all?
Which
tax base?
No, actually,
ag,
yeah,
just like it is now.
he will continue to pay the same tax rate as he's paid for this ranch for years. Absolutely.
What's the benefit of doing that?
We just bought it and we need some money to pay for it. And that's why when you say,
So it's monetary.
but you know, and the urgency is, I mean, you see what the interest rates are. The sooner I get this done, the sooner I'm able to survive again.
Mm-hmm. Is there some of it that you've left out of the conservation? It's the whole thing.
Right, but as Bill tells you, we've only owned it for 2 years. We've been in ranching. I'm a fourth generation. I have two boys that are 25 and 23, and they're in the fifth generation. So, I mean, this is what we've always done for a living, but this changes nothing how we run the last 2 years. This easement will change nothing how we operate on the ranch. Our hunting, our livestock, all will be managed the exact same.
So the Game and Fish has no different authority in there than they do right now. It just can't be subdivided.
It protects it from being subdivided and changes stuff for wildlife.
And obviously our objectives, we're protecting it for migration corridors, winter range, and all this stuff with the big game. It is a heavily used big game area. So that's what we're still trying to maintain, those big blocks of land. We can try to maintain these big game populations at some level of what they are today.
Have you put it out for sale publicly at all? Like, are you just,
We don't want to sell.
okay,
This is just a conservation easement
Oh.
to prevent.
anybody could ballot?
It makes it easier for us to hold on.
So they're gonna receive money,
Right.
developmental value for putting it into the
And then
conservation
it will
easement
make
to
it
help
easier
pay for the place.
to pass on to my two boys.
Good. Any other questions? No? All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time. All right. Ms. Vicky is not here.
We can do the public health.
She-
Beth is
you
here.
can?
Yeah, Beth is here now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'm just making sure you're here.
I'm here.
We can't run our meeting without you.
I'm making punch, so.
Oh, okay.
I don't want anyone to see me dump the Everclear in there. Just kidding.
The recording's still on, Miss Vicky.
I'm gonna catch my breath now.
All right, we'll move on to, public health position and wage adjustment.
I'm on next.
What?
Oh, that wasn't what you were here for?
I've got two projects.
Oh, I'm sorry. I only had the one on here. I'm sorry. No, go ahead. Sorry, Bill.
Apologize. Yeah, so hopefully you guys also would have received the second letter that we sent on a different project. This is for an easement, on our Bel Air State Wildlife Area, and it's just, I'll explain to you here. And I'll give you guys a full copy in just a second as a reference. So the second project I was bringing for, again, as I said earlier, anything the state acquires any kind of a asset in, so an easement, a right-of-way easement, we have to take it to the legislators for approval, so we're coming to you guys for support. So, two maps I'm showing you in front of you, if you're familiar at all, this is our Bel Air State Wildlife Area, upriver of County Road 8, off County Road 17. We have that housing facility, the old fish hatchery that sits right there at the end of, if you're looking at the maps, it's kind of the area that the driveway that goes into the property. Currently, we do not have any kind of internet connectivity there to speak of. I have a full-time employee there, plus we have multiple seasonals there, plus we have the shop and a lot of our facilities there. So what we've been working on, we actually currently possess easement down that road that is not our property. It belongs to the Westlands LLC upriver. But we have the right-of-way access, and we also have an easement for phone, and I think there's two cables we have access for an easement already along that road. We do not have the word fiber in that easement. So what we are coming to ask for today is support from you guys, and then again, we'll take it to the legislature. We've got an agreement with Westlands. They're gonna let us just rerun the trench. There's fiber already connected at the corner right there where you see the number 17 on the road with the little red line starts. It's sitting there waiting for us. We've got an agreement with White River Electric Association already ready to go. We just need to be able to take it from there to the house. So all we're gonna do is just trench in a small trench. We're gonna put the fiber optics in it. And at that point, we will have broadband and have accessibility for our employees and for our facility. So that's all we're asking for, is just the approval to be able to add broadband to our existing easement.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you wanted to speak about that,
Oh.
today, so.
Maybe I misunderstood, but I was.
No, no.
I thought it was on the schedule, so sorry about that.
Yeah, I just didn't know on the work session piece of
Sorry
it.
about that. I thought since he was here, he'd talk about that one also. It's
Nope.
all-
That's perfect. It works great. So you guys will be responsible for putting in the trench.
Absolutely. We're doing all the installation, we'll do everything. We're just, and again, we've already got the agreement worked out with Westlands. They've signed it. The order as is and all the detailed components of it are ready to go. We just have to take it with you guys, but then we're taking it to the legislature. So same thing. As soon as we can get on the CDC schedule, we're proposing this, and again, hopefully they'll approve it, and then we'll be able to put the broadband in and actually get it in this spring. That'll be the goal.
And who's going to do the connection into the WREA fiber?
White River Electric, I mean, we've been working with Mike Dinwiddie's been up there, and everybody's looked at it. We know the connectivity of it. We'll put the trench in, we'll put the fiber down. They do all the connecting on the both ends. At least as of this moment, that's my understanding of the process. When we
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. I don't have any issues with that. All right.
Do you want a copy of the map?
Yeah, if I could.
You bet.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Sorry about that, though.
No, not a problem. Thank you guys for allowing me to squeeze both of them in.
All right. Now we'll move on to public health and position and wage adjustment. Morning, Beth.
Morning. How are you, Doug? Good, how are you, Jen?
Good, how are you, Beth?
I don't know, it's like, you guys, I think I'm here to support Don, and he's gonna present it, and I'm gonna fill in more answers, and
So basically, when we did the budget, I didn't understand that Kylie's job duties were more than administrative job duties, that she has several other things that she has along with that. So when we did it, we only talked about doing her as administrative 3, which puts her in the same pay classifications as several people that have lesser jobs over there. She actually does more of the public health specialist. I'll let Beth kind of describe exactly what she does there. So anyhow, going through her duties seems to be more than most administrative 3s on it. She does a lot of the community health, reach and education, core public health response. She responds to environmental health emergencies.
so you're actually reading mine.
Yeah, I'm actually reading your deal here. So she does quite a few of the duties that you see more advanced than that. What we're proposing to do is to give her a new job in the public health specialist. And did you want to do you're talking new job, or are you talking just adding that to those administrative duties?
So my understanding is we need to change her job title to more grasp what it is that Kylie actually does. Kylie does this much admin when she vouchers. And that's really all she does, is this much admin. She does this much public health specialist. With that, so a public health specialist kind of takes what they see in the community as some health issues, and they put together a program, it's evidence-based, and then they implement it. And that's really what Kylie does. She's also, our clinic manager, right? So she She makes sure everything is up and going aside from giving a shot. Kylie is our clinic, especially right now. So I think moving Kylie from an admin, which is this much of her work, to public health specialist, this is really what she does. She's also a mental health first aid trainer now. She started our harm reduction program. She's working to increase the harm reduction program and what we can do with that. She's working on a grant for LPHAs for harm reduction. Like, Kylie is somebody who, like, her job is not just answering phones and vouchering. That's not what Kylie does. Kylie keeps the clinic running. Kylie QCs everything. Kylie makes sure that, you know, we are meeting our ducks in a row there. Kylie takes what we need in our community and she's implementing it. Unfortunately, Karen has been sick for several months, really came to a head recently. During that time frame, like, we didn't slow down on what we were doing. And I think we really need to take Kylie and give Kylie the title for what she really does. And so that's why I filled out Karen started the conversation with Dawn about this, and then this led to, I filled it out, submitted it, and here we are today.
How much of it is, what percentage of it would be, any of the money that we get from public health?
Currently, Kylie is 100% EOC funded COVID money. That ends in July, end of July. But there's also, OPHP gave us an extra $50,000 this year, an extra $50,000 next year. There's a CDC infrastructure grant coming at the end of January. That will go for workforce as well. It can be spent 1 year up to 5 years. That's $200,000. Kylie's working on a harm reduction grant that her wages can come out of as well. That one's due at the end of January, so of course we won't know that until March. There's a lot of non-county dollars to pay for this, and there's a lot of Rio Blanco County good that will come out of this position and what she does without county dollars going into it.
How did she get to this? Is she there now because Ms. Dinwiddie's been sick?
So Kylie started about a year ago as an admin. That position came open. 3 months into it, we lost a director. So then, like, we kind of like distributed what everybody was doing, and Kylie fell into this very passionate role that she has for our community. And then it has grown since March of last year.
But she's not doing something that Ms. Dinwiddie would be doing.
I say no. I say that because, like, the way the programs go, like, if Kylie wasn't going to do this, the public health director would not have time to do it. Between all of our core programs that we have to offer, and now with a new director coming on, and the learning curve there, and the mandated, they have to be the WIC director, they have to be the WIC high-risk counselor, that takes 6 to 9 months of intense training. I don't see the new director, or myself as an interim director, doing this at least in the next 10 to 12 months. I just don't think the capacity is there. And I don't think, like, you have to have the right person too, with the same passion and willingness and, you know, love for the community and seeing the needs.
Is she gonna stay at 32 hours? So the total increase of this would be 10,700?
That's a blank question. I left that blank because I don't know.
I think it's 12, was it 12,000?
Oh, the overall cost,
Overall, yeah. So
including benefits.
the increase of that 10,700 is about wages, the difference between where she's currently at now compared to the wage that they want. Benefits would be that FICA Medicare addition to that wage increase. And so that total would be about the 12,160 is what you're looking at as the total budget impact for that year.
And of that how much of it would be qualified for the grant funding?
I would say 100% of that. Yeah. So I think we're trying to move all wages we can, that are specific to the ELC grant, that's 100% reimbursed. So any increase in, wage benefits would 100% be covered by that, because we have like 400,000 still that we haven't even touched yet on that grant. Through July, I think it comes into play, what other grants or what other duties can you put this position, duties under to be able to pay it with additional grant funds from, let's see here, August through December, because you're covered through July. So I think that's where Beth was coming with. If we can get some of these other funding mechanisms, then I think you'll be fine. I think you're still going to show public health with pretty much being, close to, 80%, I would say, funded through different federal state grants. Because we're getting a lot of additional money through there. But I think we just have to, Beth and I had that conversation, a few weeks ago of how are we going to allocate wages for this next year once those grant fundings kind of go away, to make sure that we are, utilizing them to the best of our abilities and getting as much federal and state reimbursement as we possibly can.
Are we using all of our funding that we're getting from the different grants through CCHE?
I think we'll utilize the majority except for the COVID money. I mean, when it started, we could utilize it on a lot of things, and now we can utilize it on this much, and 400,000 in 7 months is not doable on what we can spend it on. But the rest of the grants, we are. Yeah.
And is she writing grants too? Is that?
She's working on writing a production grant.
Oh.
She and I are working together on that one, so she's taking the lead, and I told her I'd support her however I could, so, yeah.
I don't have any other questions.
No.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Beth.
Van Peeler, the chair, just to kind of mention this, commissioners, it's not on for a work session or anything formal, but just we can kind of get some ideas on that, and then we'll set it for a special meeting or whatever.
Good. Go ahead.
I do have something for you. What it is, Van, this is your moment to shine. This is not on your agenda for approval. It's an MOU with the state of Colorado, and Dan, and these two have some issues with it, but so I'm going to just defer to Dawn.
So basically what it is, it's an agreement with between the state of Colorado, for funding in order to replace the bridge there.
No, it's replaced the deck on the county road.
Oh, okay. The deck of the bridge then. So basically what it does, it has a couple of things in it that have caused some concern. One is the fact that that does have a certification that we're complying with COVID, well, not necessarily COVID, but with all lawful orders and executive orders based on that. So it doesn't specifically say COVID, but one of the and right now I think we are, because there's nothing out there that we're having to comply with. The second thing is that we have to also certify that we're not turning in undocumented aliens to the federal government, ICE, or anything else. That is also something that we have to push out into any subcontractor that does that. There are criteria that the state has come out with as we've talked in the past. The state changed the laws. It used to be that we had to certify that to us and the people that we contracted with that they weren't using any undocumented. Now we're prohibited from even asking about that and have to remove all those that from all of our other contracts with the state and our RFPs and things like that. So that's kind of the way things are going with the new character of the state of Colorado on it. I suspect this is really the first one that we've got that had that language that we're doing. I don't know how to deal with it except for unless we can just say, okay, we can self-fund this, which is quite a bit of money, like 200 and something.
It's not just on this one though.
It's going to be on every one of them, yeah.
I mean, this is.
You know, this is the first,
First little baby step, I mean, you know, this one we could actually fund, it's under, what, 300,000?
right,
But
yeah, it's, and unfortunately, I don't know how we can take on the state in these issues and still get the funding. That's their string. And I always say anytime we take state funding, then we're subject to the strings that are attached to it. But they've got it to where there's no way we can self-fund as a county a lot of the things that we need to do in order to maintain our, you know, infrastructure and things like that, that they'll give us money to do or give us money with strings to do. So it's the carrot and the stick type thing.
So it's basically saying we'll abide by any executive order being passed down.
Yeah, any lawful executive order.
Is there a time frame? Like,
Well, when we spend all the money,
when we're done with the bridge?
for this one, but the next one will be for that project, the next one will be for that project. And as you guys are aware, you see about 1 million, you know, these things come through a year. And well, that's a slight exaggeration, but a bunch of them. So anytime we do a contract agreement with the state for these type of things, we've always had some, you know, reporting requirements and other sticks that we've had to do. But now they're getting a little more aggressive with some of the requirements that we have to impose on ourselves as well as on our subcontractors that we're going to use.
ironically, the one for Granger at the landfill has none of this language in it whatsoever for the grant. It's from CDPHE.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen with this one.
This one, there is, that's why. And you say it's nothing major, it's $300,000, but it's gonna be for everything that we try to do from here on out, I think.
And those laws change, or there's some movement in the state, which I don't see that in the near future.
Would be a waste of time to ask them to take that out.
Yeah, but they're bound to determine, and they got a supermajority up there now, so they're bound to determine that there's been a lot of things that come down the road based on, especially the rural and smaller counties, response to those COVID orders from the state. And I think that they are trying to wiggle it in to where they have more strings and sticks if something like that ever happens again. We're more at risk if we don't comply with those orders.
So, I know this is a little bit off the subject, but when we get a new commissioner, do they go to training?
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a possibility of you being around a bunch of other commissioners. I think it's worth asking how they're dealing with it in their counties, because it's obviously a statewide thing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And part of our response to the COVID things wasn't that we didn't refuse to comply with anything. We just didn't take an active enforcement position. And you know, that may be sufficient to say, okay, you got it in the contract, so if somebody comes in, subcontractor, if you're not complying with it, whatever. We had a similar situation with the city of Lamar, where the hospital was refusing to contract the city for ambulance services if they didn't agree that everybody in the city was complying with the COVID restrictions. The city basically said, well, we don't need to service you then. And they backed off of it because we had more power than they did at that point. But that was local, that was the local hospital district versus the state of Colorado then.
So who would be the one enforcing that?
Well, that's the question, and that's what I've always said.
And neither do we. So if we just carry on like we did, we're doing our best, but it's not our number one priority because we don't have the assets or resources.
And that's the way all my small counties dealt with the COVID, is basically that we're not going to overtly say we're not going to comply with the requirements from the state. We just don't have the resources. We don't have the resources to go out there and take businesses that are not, you know, requiring with the mask mandate or the spacing requirements or whatever. And we don't have the, you know, the ability to do that. We try to leave it to the choice of the people. They know what the risks are. There's plenty of information out there. So as somebody who willing to take on that risk and do that, I think that's the way we've done it. The state, for the most part, has never done any direct enforcement with the counties that I'm aware of in these type of things. Except for, I can kind of see from the writing on the wall that perhaps they may, at some point, if we have this again, they may have people come to the smaller counties that won't enforce it themselves to enforce. I don't know if they will or not, but kind of like the state, people coming down and checking out liquor licenses and things of that nature. And I don't know if they'll do that or not. I'm just kind of supposing based on their more aggressive stance on these things.
Is there a way that you, when you do that, you can do it under duress or tell them that we don't like it?
Well, I think we always have the right of redress to our representatives. You write a letter basically saying, we don't like the fact that we're putting all these strings into our contracts. I mean, we've always got that ability. Talk to our state representative, state senator, those type of things.
The reason I say that is it puts other counties on notice that we don't like it either.
Well, or we could do what a lot of them did, is a lot of the counties during the COVID thing expressed their frustration with the state mandates and regulations, sent them up, as they're promptly ignored by the state. But at least, I don't know if any of you kept the tab, there was a newspaper article that was talking about all the states that had written in protest of the COVID regulations and the application to those to the counties. We can do that. We can write a letter of protest to them. I mean, like I say, we've always got the right to redress lawfully and peacefully any of the issues on that. It's always difficult though when you're looking at, the substantial funding that might go away when, something that may or may not ever be an issue.
So this will be on our next meeting's agenda?
I think so.
I think we actually need it
Well,
on.
we could do a
let's meet
special
on
meeting,
Special meeting maybe, Van? Because the next meeting's the 24th.
Well, the thing of it is, the IGA has to be approved by the, state controller. The AG's office has got to review it and sign off on it. Chief engineer with CDOT has to sign off on it. I've seen it take a week or 2 weeks to go through that process. I've also seen 2 months to go through that process.
And they're currently looking for engineers.
And this particular project, it needs to be performed in July and August. That's the window. And there is still a lot of meetings that I need to have with CDOT to get the construction package approved that we're going to advertise. And so, because we're going to be, ultimately, we're going to be shutting down County Road 4. And I need to have meetings with the sheriff's office, EMTs and stuff like that to make them aware of what we're doing and what effect it's going to have on what requirements and specs and stuff like that. So there is a lot of engineering to be done before we can say we're going to advertise the job. And the first step, do we have the money or we don't have the money? That's where we're at right now. If we want to go forward with it, great, let's go. We're charged down the road. If you don't want to do it, okay, then there's no sense of going through the process of getting a package put together for advertising.
And then you mentioned that the reason why that window is on those two things is because of the trailing and.
Yes,
sheep and.
there's people up on the mesa, they take cows and they take them upriver in the springtime for winter grazing, for summer grazing. Then they bring them back down for the winter time. And the best opportunity to do the work is between July and August.
And it doesn't interfere with school or anything.
So I was thinking if you guys want me to set a special meeting on today's Wednesday, right? Thursday. We do Friday or Monday. Now, of course, the next meeting will be the 24th in Rangeley. So and it would be a call-in meeting, and this would be the only item on it. Let me know your availability.
Well,
Or you could do it later Friday.
you're 20. We can get to 24.
But that puts you another,
Or you could even call me in for just
Yeah,
only one thing.
want to do it Friday afternoon? Did you say? Or when?
We're done at 1:00, noon or 1.
I got a meeting at 1 on Friday, so
Okay.
after 2.
After 2? Okay, Friday after 2, I'll get it set up. Perfect. Now you got a little bit of a break unless anybody's got anything else.
Oh, all right.
Okay?
We'll take a break until 10 o'clock.